Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to all the viewers on this program. On behalf of NISSMAT International, I welcome you all. NISSMAT stands for National Institute of Safety, Security Management and Applied Technology. We conduct seminars, discussions on contemporary subjects. We have a very large segment of scholars who address the subject. Today, we have a very distinguished scholar in Maj Gen Dr. P.K. Chakraborty, Vishish Seva Medal, who will be talking on the aspect of the situation in the neighboring countries and its effect on India. Maj Gen Chakraborty is an alumnus of the National Defense Academy who was commissioned into the Regiment of Artillery on 31st March 1972. Silver gunner, that is, he stood first in the course. He has undergone the long gunnery staff course, the staff course of the Defense Services Staff College, and also a graduate of the National Defense College. He has commanded a medium regiment and a composite artillery brigade. He is the Deputy Director General of the Prospective Planning Directorate, currently is known as the Strategic Planning Directorate. Major General Artillery of an Operational Command, Commandant of a selection center where he was responsible for selecting Army and cadets for the Army as well as for the Navy. He was the Additional Director General in the Artillery Directorate, dealing with the operations, procurement at the Army headquarters. The officer was responsible for procurement of artillery equipment and selection of officers, as I mentioned earlier, for the Indian Army and the Indian Navy. He retired on 31st December 2010. He has served as the defense attaché in Vietnam, where he cultivated interest in China in a prolific writer on strategic subjects. The officer has completed his PhD from the Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science and an MPhil from the Madras University. He is currently a defense analyst and a senior fellow at the Center for Land Warfare Studies. After his retirement, he's been very busy writing and commenting on books, articles for the IDSA, USI, CLAWS, and St. Joe's. His interest lies in the field of strategy, firepower, defense procurement, defense experts, net assessment, technology, artificial intelligence, South and Southeast Asia, Indo-Pacific, and left-wing extremism. He has authored a number of books, and he takes part in discussions at various places. Over to General Chakraborty. I request General Chakraborty to start with Pakistan. Probably Pakistan has been a bane for India since very long for carrying out insurgency in J&K. Could you give an insight to the present situation and its implication towards India?
Thank you, General Deepak Mehta, firstly for giving me an opportunity on this very great subject, which is contemporary to us. I mean, Pakistan has been always a bane to India. It's been trying its best to make sure that it is recognized and identified in the global forum. And to do that, Pakistan is controlled in every way by one organization, and that is the Pakistan Army. Well, Pakistan Army got Imran Khan as the Prime Minister, but very sadly, whoever Pakistan Army gets in, once he comes to power, he comes to know his capabilities. And Imran began to rule the country, possibly the way it should be ruled. And that was not much to the liking of the Pakistan Army. And thereafter, he left, or he departed, or whatever he did. And once he departed, and thereafter we had the fresh elections, the new government is in power, a combination of the PPP and the PML, and there are tremendous problems. I think the best success of Pakistan has been Afghanistan and the withdrawal of American troops. But even with Afghanistan today, relations are not good. As a matter of fact, there are clashes on the Duran line, and the Taliban in Pakistan has been very active. We have them extremely active, particularly in the northern province. We have Balochistan, which is a major problem. And as a matter of fact, all the 4 provinces have some degree of insurgency. It's something very, very strange. But the fact remains that there's not a single province which is not affected by insurgency. The economy is, if I may say so, somehow tottering along. The International Monetary Fund is giving them has approved a $7 billion loan. Saudi Arabia has allowed $3 billion, which has been sanctioned to it, to be extended further. But the dollar is almost about 280 Pakistan rupees to $1. And the economy is in a very tight state. Along with this, they've got a huge military budget, and the Pakistan army is today in every part of the Pakistan economy. They have the Fauji Foundation, and their entire aim of the Pakistan army is to make sure that relations with India remain on the boil. Now, how do they do it? Well, one way is to somehow counter India in 2 regions, primarily I'll say. One is Jammu and Kashmir, and the second is Punjab. As far as J&K is concerned, India has been very, very successful in 2 ways, politically and militarily. Politically, India has made J&K a great place to be in. Article 370 has been abolished. Further, you have today elections conducted in the Union Territory of J&K as well as Ladakh. And you have a civilian government come in. Net result is today, Kashmir is absolutely free from daily insurgent activity. But Pakistan initially shifted issues once 370 was abolished to the southern portion, that is to the Jammu region. Now, when we started being active in the Jammu region, then they have again come back with sporadic attacks in the northern region. But the Indian Armed Forces, if I may say so, have been under control, have been ensuring that the situation is stable. Tourism is improving. And the best part is, this is something very new. The boat rides, the shikaras, today can be booked on Uber. Schools are open. People are with children moving around. And the main arterial highway is open 24 hours. One often thinks that in many highways in any country in the world, one doesn't go by night. But this highway is open today 24 hours. Traffic is moving. The airports are functioning. Well, if you want, sir, should I go on to China, or would you like to ask some questions, General Mehta? I think I'll go on to China.
No, just a minute. I have you see, with the problems that they have, both economic, political, and the high inflation rate in Pakistan, they have a lot of problems. And insurgencies, as you brought out, is very active, both in Northwest as also in Balochistan. In the past, what we have seen is that whenever there's a problem, they start getting very active along the line of actual control and the international border. Do you visualize with this problem that they're having, internal problems, they're likely to exacerbate the borders with India?
Well, I would like to say Pakistan's way of dealing has been asymmetric. It has never been what you call, dealing with the borders in a way in which it's open and going into what is known as a sub-conventional method. It has never been what you call a conventional war where you try to, grab a territory or something. They basically have been sub-conventional, but definitely with all these disturbances going on, Pakistan Army right now would like to mainly use two things. On the Punjab, they are trying their drugs, which again is not having a
Yes.
major impact. They have also got in the Khalistan movement, which they are not finding much success in Punjab, which is because the people of Punjab, or let's say the police in Punjab, the security agencies have been able to keep that. So most of the activities are taking place abroad. Even abroad, India has applied a lot of leverage, whether it's in Canada, the United States, or UK. So Pakistan is not finding much leverage in Punjab. As far as J&K is concerned, they feel that they are able to achieve some success. I do not think that they would like to exacerbate on the borders, not for any other reason, but because the Indian army, whenever they have exacerbated, have been able to deal with them in a very, very composed, I repeat, in a very composed manner, not in a what you call, a manner in which it has been very composed, it has been with rhythm, it has been to the level that which proportionately they have been able to deal. Now, such artistic dealing, that too in the field of, say, warfare,
Yes.
comes in only with
You see,
high degree of
the
professionalism.
impression also, one more impression which people have here is that the governance, the civil governance, they want to build bridges with India. But the army, which is actually the controlling factor in Pakistan, does not want so. Whenever there's been a dialogue between India and Pakistan in the past, like, for example, Vajpayee had gone there, Modi had gone there was a problem thereafter. So till the time the Pakistan army controls the things, I think as far as we are concerned in India, the problems will persist.
Well, I'll be very frank with you. I mean, so I've just back abroad and met many Pakistanis. I don't think any the civil population, as you correctly brought out, I think they want good, open relations with India, and they feel that such relations will be to their benefit. But the Pakistan army, moment this happens, they lose their place, they lose the country. It's one
Yes,
army
they
which
rule
owns
the
the country. One must understand, sir. Unlike the Indian army, which is owned by the Indian country, the Indian government, the Pakistan army owns the government. The Pakistan army owns Pakistan. That ownership will go away moment they make friendship with you. So I
right,
think
sir.
this is the major issue.
Thanks for the insight to Pakistan. Now, you're mentioning that you want to speak about China. Yes, we have had problems with China since 2020, where the peace and tranquility agreement that we had with China, that was abrogated, and the Chinese came into our area, so-called their claim area. And then there was a fight at Galwan where both the sides suffered casualties. And could you give us an insight to the border agreement that we've had now, where disengagement, which based on the military and the civil diplomatic side, sort of disagreement has come down. What do you see of it?
Well, the last meeting was held only on 5th December. Today is 7th December of the WMCC. It's, it's too recent, and our own foreign minister is very, correctly stated that things had gone awry, particularly after 20th June, after June, where what you call in 2020 in Galwan, which you just mentioned. And thereafter, we had what you call a very, very awkward relationship, which possibly has been mended in many ways, particularly in the diplomatic way. It has been mended very well, allowing both the countries to move forward in trade and other areas. Let's say climate,
Yes.
we are seeing eye to eye. But as far as the border is concerned, there is a de-escalation which is taking place. I mean to say, there is an agreement, and both at what you call the main disagreement areas, which were at Depsang and at Demchok, that is the what you call the Chadingla junction. At both those areas, they have now agreed that both the troops should what you call withdraw, and patrolling can continue. Now, the point which if you get, it's also a matter of detail. Now, as is being observed right now, the patrolling which was pre-June 2020, what you call where before we what you call went into this Galwan incident. Now, it is not to that degree, but well, things are better than what they were,
Yes.
shall we say, a few days back. Now, when things happen like this, one thing is very clear, that it is not only patrolling that we should be concerned. When we look at the macro level, the perception of what is the line of actual control is different. The Chinese have one version, we have another version. I think we must get down to what is known as delimitation and demarcation. Unless these are done, and these can be done by exchange of maps, by carrying out joint surveys, then only this can be done. Otherwise, the present is to come down to what is patrolling. It would be fair to say
Yes,
that
actually, there's, as what our defense minister also mentioned when he went down and met the defense minister of China, that we got to build up a trust once again. There's sort of a distrust between both the sides as far as the border is concerned. China has managed to sort out the border problems with all the countries other than India.
and
Now,
Bhutan.
earlier,
India and Bhutan. These are the two countries.
yeah, correct. Second aspect is, you see, earlier along the LAC, they had logistic bases, which we can understand what is the stocking levels, how low could this logistic basis control. But now they have constructed 620 villages across the LAC. That is a matter of concern, because those villages, they said that they're going to be constructing for the Tibetans. It's not so. There is some reports say that people from the mainland, they have come into those villages. Now, are they ex-servicemen, or are they basis for further operations by the Chinese? So it's a matter of concern. How do you feel of it, sir?
So let me be very candid about it. This may be something new for people who are observing the Chinese in the Indian border. The Chinese do this, and so do the Vietnamese do this. Very few countries have the army, the BSF, the ITBP, and all these deployed. Most of them develop villages, particularly China, not only on the Vietnam border, on the Russian border, and this is their first line. Now, in the Chinese lexicon, there is nobody that he is a military man, ex-serviceman. So everybody is a part of the militia.
Yeah.
Military training is not something which is only given to PLA. Everybody is a part of the PLA. Like
That's
they
right.
are today fighting the Philippines. It does not mean someone has to wear a uniform and he becomes a soldier. Every person has to do compulsory military training, or he has to have certain reasons for not doing it. So we have to look at it that, well, they have got, the Chinese have got, they have got even the People's Armed Police under the Communist Party and the People's District.
Yeah.
So as far as they are concerned, they have got to look at it in this way. And the other aspect which I would like to state is that as far as the people's villages are concerned, these villages, I think we are also now going to start these villages, because that is the only way you can ensure that the borders are safe. Because a border which is hostile, a border where you don't, as you said, the trust levels are low, you definitely need the people who are staying there, who can carry out activities, whatever be the activities, day-to-day activities. If agriculture may not be possible in those higher altitudes, maybe some months you may be able to carry out some amount of it. But definitely animal rearing can be carried out. And in addition to that, they are guarding the border. They are providing you surveillance. This is the way the Chinese have been doing right from the time. This
In
is their
short, I
way
think
of
we
looking
should
after the
keep a
border.
guard up and improve upon infrastructure development, which is going on right now, because we don't want
And
to be
also our
taken by
villages,
surprise
sir.
again.
Also our villages which are on the border, we should also develop. How much
Yes,
army can you have? How much ITBP can you have? So how much of other, say, let's say,
yes,
other personnel you can have who can keep guarding the border? You cannot keep on. It's a huge border. So this is the best way, and they'll give you intelligence. They'll give you information. Rather, they, as a matter of fact, we have Tibetans on our side. We should have the capability of going in and coming out.
correct.
This is what I have been saying, and I've been posted over
They
there.
also have some vulnerabilities. Yes.
Yeah, so
They
correct.
also have a
Yeah,
large
so
number of
we must
vulnerabilities.
exploit their we must exploit this vulnerability. That is the best way of dealing with it. And in the meantime, diplomatically, we keep increasing. So we cannot today ignore that China's GDP is almost, say, 18 trillion. Our GDP is about nearing 3.8 trillion. We cannot ignore that we need Chinese items.
One more factor,
So,
Praveen.
therefore, we continue our trade, we continue our activities on the economic front, on the climate front, which helps us to improve relationships. But China will be a major issue for us.
Yes.
We have to keep our armed forces.
I have one more
border
point. You see, besides LAC, besides the Chinese being on the LAC, there are a large number of Chinese which come into POK, part of the CPEC. Though they claim that they are coming for the infrastructure development and maintenance, but they one report said that a large number of PLA chaps have come into POK also. So I think we got to keep a check on those fellows also.
Undoubtedly, General Deepak, you are absolutely right. The numbers I have been, at times I quoted I remember in writing 8,000 PLA troops in Gilgit-Baltistan, the main area where they were concentrated at that point of time. Today, well, they are not the PLA, but definitely Gwadar has a large Chinese population. And as I always maintain, in the Chinese lexicon, a man may be from Samsung, but he is fit for the PLA. Please, one should not look at them. They are not like us. That today you are from Indian Army, Indian Navy, Indian Air Force, and even between the three, we are not able to decide possibly who will do what. In the Chinese lexicon, everybody is a soldier. And we have to look at them that way. Whether he is working for Samsung, whether he is working for border roads, it's not necessary that he has got to be on the payroll of the People's Liberation Army. He has the capability, anybody, and weapons can move very freely in the Chinese system. They move very, very freely. Weapons, drugs, and the beauty is, I just went to San Francisco. There's a Chinatown over there, thriving. Possibly the best Chinese food is available in San Francisco. I was told. I've just been there.
Yes.
And they have got everything, connections with mainland China. They are doing all the fishing. Now some Vietnamese are replacing them. The entire fishing in the world, except possibly even India, we had in Calcutta a large population which is still there, but of course they are of a different variety. They are mainly the Hakka, are Chinese. And previously, when you went to United States, these Chinese people said they belong to Singapore or they belong to Malaysia. Today, I met a Chinese girl in Houston, and she said very clearly, I belong to Guangzhou. They belong to mainland China. They are going to mainland China. So it is not that you are only looking at what you call PLE, people with Chinese passport. The Chinese diaspora is very different from other diasporas. So we have to be very, very careful. And as you are all along stressing, the armed forces of India have to be really on their toes. They cannot afford to let their alertness go down. They have to modernize, and our budgets must be enough. I have asked this question to the ministry, to even the Prime Minister's economic, main consultant, that please give us money so that we can do these things. And this is what I would say. And so you're very right.
You had a large experience in procurement and also in the missile technology, and you were involved with them. I think we are honing our skills to that end. Are we?
Sir, I don't deny that. See, Indians are very skillful, sir. Our Indian soldiers are also very skillful. We are very innovative. We have very good brains. I've just been to United States. Every fourth doctor is an Indian. Fourth medical doctor. We go to the Silicon Valley where cars are today roaming around. They are all talking. Head of Google they are American citizens, but they are persons of Indian origin. Head of Google is an Indian.
Yes.
Head of what you call the Microsoft is an Indian. So many Indians are heading so many things. As a matter of fact, now the FBI, Mr. Patel may be heading it in the new Trump administration. So Indians are brilliant in their jobs, but that does not mean that we don't need numbers. Now, few missiles, few these things don't
Yes,
make
I think
enough, sir.
we got to build bridges. We have a very large trade with China, over $100 billion. And now with the border problem being resolved to some extent, hopefully some peace would occur over a period of time, but trust has to be built between both the countries on this issue. Now, coming down to the east, Prabir, there's been a lot of fire in the east, especially in Manipur. And what could be the reasons for it, and who is abetting all this now?
See, I mean to say, goes without saying, Manipur is a border state. And both Manipur and Mizoram and Nagaland have a border with Myanmar. And the situation in Myanmar has been, we have been discussing all these countries. They have got one link common. All of them are authoritarian countries.
Yeah.
We discussed Pakistan. You might say that you might have what you call a Shahbaz Sharif as the Prime Minister, but it's the Pakistan army. You spoke of China. Well, again, it's an authoritarian country. And now we're coming to Myanmar, the junta. Unfortunately, the Myanmar army has not been able to deal with the various groups. There are about 22 of them, and they are controlling a lot of population this side, that side. Now, from the Indian side, firstly, before I get down to Manipur, we tried our best to have good relations with the junta. Now we have taken a decision. We should also open our negotiations with these groups because they control some areas. Now, what's happening in Manipur is, to be very distinct, you have today the Imphal, which is in the valley, and you have got the heights. I just returned from Manipur. So before going to the US, I was lucky to go to Nagaland and Manipur because extremely important from understanding all these strategic issues. Now you have the area, the bulk of the area is the hills. And these hills are today occupied. You've got mainly three communities in Manipur. You've got the Meiteis, who are Hindus, and who are basically the chief minister is also a Meitei. They are the bulk of the population. But then you've got the Kukis, and the Kukis are Christians. And then you've got the Nagas. Well, the Nagas are also what you call, I won't call that they are what you call, in Manipur I'm talking, they may not be against the Meiteis, but they are not also pro-Meitei. They are somewhere in between. And Kukis have taken it very badly, particularly when the reservation started. The High Court order came that Meiteis should be declared a scheduled tribe. Meiteis are now presently not a scheduled tribe. Kukis are a scheduled tribe. Nagas are a scheduled tribe. So the protest started, and then after that, there was a lot of clashes, a lot of issues. And I must congratulate the Indian Army and the Assam Rifles, which form the part of for getting the area on some control. But the point is that the cookies have got a lot of people who are in Myanmar, and the Nagas also from Myanmar.
Correct.
And Myanmar has been giving them all sorts of weapons have been coming in, and this has been coming from all parts. As you are aware, all these various groups which are operating, they are getting weapons from all over the world. They are getting from the United States. The junta is getting weapons from China. So all sorts of weapons are today in Myanmar. And with this instability in Myanmar, and with the cookies being able to get a constant supply, they have practically today, if you go to Imphal, you can go at best up to Vishnupur.
Right.
Otherwise, the cookies have formed a road zone of their own. So much so that as far as the road is concerned between Kohima to Imphal, which has got a large number of pockets dominated, except for army convoys, you cannot have normal traffic moving. The buses are being driven by Pangals. Pangals means the Manipuri Muslims.
Yeah.
The Pangals are able to take, but otherwise, if you watch, the cookies have built road communication through Mizoram. So if today a cookie wants to come to Delhi, they are using the Mizoram, the Aizawl airport. None of them are using Imphal. So this is the level to which it is. Or they, some of them may come to Dimapur, but it's very, very far away. You would agree in terms of distance, it means going to Kohima, again from Kohima to Dimapur. The road it's not a question of distance. It's a question of these roads being in hills where there's heavy rainfall, frequent landslides, and despite the best efforts, not only landslide, you have the roads caving in. I mean to say, these are the problems of these hills over there. And one has to go on ground to understand how difficult it is for the army convoys also to go from Dimapur up to what you call Imphal. But we have to push these convoys because the only other road access is through Jirabom. And Jirabom, the Jirabom that is from Assam, if you have the road access from Jirabom coming in that also you have the cookie domination. And these needs to be resolved. Yes.
May I intervene here? Probably
Yeah,
as far as Myanmar is concerned, our government is in touch with the government there.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we have spent a lot of money in the Switi port. We are making the river navigable right up to Mizoram. And but the problem which is there in Myanmar, which I visualize, you see, with this poppy cultivation has stopped in Afghanistan, which is a very major area for drugs. This poppy cultivation has now come into Myanmar. And there's a problem here because this becomes a narcotic hub. So as what our Prime Minister mentioned yesterday, is the focus of India is towards the east in the coming years. I think that's the correct thing. Once the economy of the eastern states come up, hopefully this narcotics which is flowing in from Myanmar, and you were talking about cookies are all on the hills. There's hardly any check on them. So there is a problem with Myanmar towards narcotics, I feel.
Well, see, Afghanistan is again back to narcotics. As a matter of fact, there's a fight between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Well, the Taliban is back again to narcotics. Nobody can leave narcotics. It's a very precious trade. So nobody can leave it. Even a person who, I'm not looking at just as a producer of it, a consumer. If today someone is affected by drugs, it's extremely difficult to get out of it. You have to go to a rehab. And in a rehab also, I have seen people, it's a sad state. The reports that I have is, as a matter of fact, there's a fight now between Afghanistan and Pakistan, that the narcotics has grown in Afghanistan and Afghanistan must get the full money for it. This is the latest which I have.
You have done a lot of study on Afghanistan.
Also, I've done tremendous. I'm
Yes,
writing a book
yes.
actually, how India can become a leader of these countries. And Afghanistan, you see, today the whole issue is drugs gets a lot of money, and Pakistan has been taking maximum of this money, and that's why they stopped this cultivation. But today Afghanistan has come down heavily. The whole fight for the Durand line is the fight for drugs now. Okay,
Yeah.
and Taliban would like, and if the drugs issue is, of course, a major issue as far as Myanmar is concerned. The Prime Minister is absolutely right. And how we can deal with it? Well, I can say one thing to you. The border is very porous. It's
Yeah.
a very, very, I mean, one has to go over there to understand what the terrain is and possibly, but well, if one even reads books like Defeat into Victory or reads certain books which Subhash Bose has written, and certainly one gets a very good idea of the terrain. People
Yes.
in the armed forces in Assam, right? The issue is that, sir, you cannot really. I'm saying, see, you will see you've got a checkpost at Moray. I'm just naming one of them, taking one of them. You have checkposts everywhere, but it is not only the checkpost. People who have to get through, they get through by various means. The jungle is so thick. There are so many small rivulets, small nalas, and then the weather is very, very unpredictable. Practically rains all over the year. When it
Yes.
rains, it is not that difficult. It's not that easy to keep a surveillance of who is moving in. So drugs come in. They will come in, and they will come in from Afghanistan. They will come in. We have got to learn how to, as a matter of fact, like even the militants, if you watch, help it, they come through the borders. You have to stop it in your hinterland.
That's right.
The hinterland is the place where
That's
you
right.
need to be effective. This
Now,
is my reading. Very
one more corn is now coming to Bangladesh.
Yes.
You see, in 1971, the Pakistan army had massacred a large number of locals there. There were rapes, there were murders, a very heavy influx of Bangladeshis coming into India, which forced us to go in for an operation. And from East Pakistan, we made Bangladesh. And we had very good relations with Bangladesh till about a couple of months back, when the regime of Sheikh Hasina was moved out. What is some reports to say that there has been some foreign intervention to bring about this change. And one of this is the ISI of Pakistan. Now you see what is happening is that Bangladesh is building bridges with Pakistan. The country which sorted them out in 1971, the passports, now they're giving visas without any security check. The shipping is taking place between Karachi and Chittagong. There was animosity or hostility towards the Indians. Even the Indian products which were sent to Bangladesh have been burnt. Now, it's a matter of concern. But lately I've seen that the present dispensation of Muhammad Yunus, he's called all the religious heads to find out how do we sort out. But it's going to be a long drawn process. What do you have to see for Bangladesh, sir?
Sir, you must understand, all these are very small countries. Bangladesh is less than 173 million. I've been there and traveled extensively over there. I myself a Bengali, so I understand issues a little too well. Firstly, it's very creditable of the Indian Army to have done what it did. Let me put it to you, sir. It's something which was a task, possibly the biggest victory in the 20th century. I can say even between 20th and 21st, I don't think they can, that is the level. So we'll leave it there. Next comes what's happening, Pakistan, other countries. Well, Bangladesh, to start with, was was definitely anti-Pakistan. But Pakistan had deep links in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Even after 71, let me put it to you. General Ziaur Rahman. Zia was in the Pakistan intelligence. I hope you understand. They were all a part of the Pakistan army. So it's, you might say anything, but when you go back there and when you meet the officers and see the way Bangladesh, I mean, I've been when Sheikh Hasina was there. And let me tell you, if you go to Mirpur Cant and see the way Bangladesh Army, Bangladesh Navy, Bangladesh Air Force officers are living, you'll understand what I'm talking. So the links with Pakistan is, see, these links are not only what you call just a shipping and some visa. These are issues which will keep changing. Change in government, change in power. Now Trump has become, and he has appointed Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence, who has already spoken up against for the Hindus being massacred. You might have a big US pressure coming onto Mohammed. And as it is, Mohammed Yunus has been giving funds more to the Democratic Party than the Republican Party. So all these may change. But Pakistan's attitude, even after they left Bangladesh or after they left East Pakistan, has always been how to have a foothold over there.
Yes.
That
That's
effort
important.
has never changed. And that effort was built up through Ziaur Rahman and Khalida Zia. Ziaur Rahman, as I said, belonged to the Pak intelligence. So when
Yes.
you go back to Bangladesh and you see even the retired officers over there are many who have served in the Pakistan army and were in Pakistan when Bangladesh was formed. So I'm giving
Yes.
you details which are not, what should I say, normally given, but this is realistic details. How do you expect, like say today, if you go to Gulshan, which is the best place in Dhaka, who has made Gulshan? Has it been made by Bangladesh? It's a creation of the East Pakistan government. The name is also Gulshan, which is an Urdu word, not a Bengali word by any chance.
Yes.
Gulshan is supposed to be what today Chanakyapuri, it's really not that way, but Gulshan is supposed to be the best place in Dhaka. So if you look at it, all these issues, the closeness or proximity to Pakistan is there. Now it is for us how we build our bridges. We are surrounding Bangladesh from three sides. We have got the Bengali language, which is the supreme power in Bangladesh. How we exploit it. 54 rivers flow from India to Bangladesh. Entire trade of Bangladesh, you might say China is the biggest trading partner. We control it. We control so many things. It's up to us. I'm very happy the Foreign Secretary is going on Monday, 9th of December, to Bangladesh formally, and he'll be meeting Mohammed Yunus. And India now needs to, what you call, start, shall we say, interacting with the current government. Agreed, disruptions, such countries will have disruptions. You cannot expect that your person will continue. It's not a stable democracy where things, there'll be always disruptions. But how we deal, if today India is I've always been speaking, even when Sheikh Hasina was there, how we manage the neighboring countries is what our capability is. Are we able to lead these countries? That is where our strength comes in. We cannot be purely a defensive and a deterrent power. We have to be projecting ourselves, and that's why I say military diplomacy is extremely important. Even a few days back, cadets from NDA, you had Bangladesh cadets passing out. You got there people in the IMA. You got today officers doing their National Defense College from Bangladesh. Military issues come in. So between the two armed forces, we still have good relations, and we must be able to exploit military diplomacy, particularly when it comes to Bangladesh. It, like we have done it, as you very correctly brought out, how is the present negotiations with China being done? It has been done at the military level and at the diplomatic level. And while it was being done at the military level, you had a diplomat coming. When the meetings were taking place at Chushul or at the Chinese side. Same way, we must be able to get in all these good connections. And in all these places, if I may say, the three countries you have discussed, the armed forces play a very important role. Pakistan, the Pakistan Army, Chinese, the PLA, and Bangladesh, as it is, the main boss is the Chief of Army Staff. He is
Yes.
the number one man. So the Indian armed forces, your defense attaché, military diplomacy has a big role, according to me.
I think with the international pressure which is building up in Bangladesh, there are certain changes which are looking positive. As you mentioned, our foreign secretary is going, and Mohammed Yunus is called the religious heads. And they are highly dependent on us for logistic support, be it electricity and all the things going in from India. They're going to suffer a lot if they don't bend bridges with us. That's what I feel.
So the point is that unless you say you have to also, when you, let's say a tiger, the jungle depends a lot on the tiger, but the tiger has to sometimes growl and show that it's important. We also need to. We have been very quiet with the present dispensation. We have been very, very. Sorry for saying so, sir. We need to be a little more proactive. By now, we should have had some active interaction.
But you brought out a very, very pertinent point, and as a matter of fact, the military diplomacy with officers going for the courses to Bangladesh and the Bangladesh officers coming to India, I think it's a good measure. And over a period of time, hopefully things will improve and we get back to normal once again.
So their officers are coming to Command Hospital, Calcutta for treatment also. They are still coming to India for treatment of diabetes and other things. You are only talking of electricity and diesel, which we are giving, undoubtedly. Bangladesh dependence on India is very, very, very high.
Yeah.
Their fish has to be sold to India. Their saris have to be sold to India. I do agree they are today a major garment exporter, and you find the best clothing when you go to Macy's in USA. You'll find either made in Bangladesh or made in Indonesia. But that has been impacted very badly by the present disturbances.
Yeah. Right, sir. Any other point you have towards the neighboring countries?
Well, I would say the oceans also are very important, and I think China is the biggest navy in the world, sir. And we should not go to what we call our submarine strength is very low. We just have about 12 to 14 submarines. Chinese have much more. We need to, while we are doing Atmanirbhar, I think there is a need for having numbers. Numbers are very important for the armed forces and their modernization. It's not enough to have a few Rafales, have 2 aircraft carriers. And China already has 3 aircraft carriers. They're going to 11 aircraft carriers. We have got about 12 plus 2, 14 submarines. They have got about 70 submarines. So we can't, this feeling that we are what you call that we have got enough, I think something we must get over.
Yes.
We should be very careful. My view is that, sir, please, anything can happen at any time. The best example is just 3 days back, see what has happened in Syria. Aleppo has fallen, Homa has fallen. I mean to say the Syrian and Damascus may fall at any time. Why? Because the Syrian army is not that strong. Second, Russia is involved with Ukraine. Iran has its own problems, which Israel has been able to do. The Hezbollah has not been able to do. So if you start what you call, feeling that, oh, the Indian Navy is great, Indian Army needs nothing, I think that's, we've got a lot of hard work to be done. Modernization is required. Our soldiers have to be on the ball. We need a lot of satellites. We don't have satellites. The Indian Army has yet to get a satellite. We are depending on one. Yes, our Prime Minister has said 52 satellites will be over. These are good things, good statements, but sir, a lot of hard work needs to be done to make sure that we remain alert to the situation. That's all I have to say, sir.
Thank you, sir. And you have also worked on changing dynamics of land warfare. We'll get you over one day to give an insight of what your thought is on that. And Prabir, thank you very much indeed. Very kind of you to have spent some time, and you gave us a large number of insight to the points that we were talking about the neighbors. And thank you very much for it, sir. We'll get you again and keep troubling you for it.
Grateful to you, sir. General Deepak Mehta, sir. Thank you.
Thanks very much. All the best. Take care.
Thank you, sir.